Welcome to episode 82 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies plus tips, apps, and gear. I am your host, Dave Ginsburg, and my co-host, of course, every week is back, Warren Sklar. How you doing, Warren?
Yeah, I'm back. I don't know where I went, but I'm back.
Well, you were here last week. What am I talking about? He's just back on the show. We're back doing another episode here, and always fun.
Keep him busy. That's my job right now. Yeah. So, yeah, it's good to be back. I'm leaving tomorrow, like I told you, for the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, he's going to be at the Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
you lucky guy.
Just something that my son's into the football, so we decided we'd give it a shot. We've never been, obviously, but we're also going to Universal Studios, which should be a good time.
What a shame you couldn't go when it was in Hawaii.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the players feel the same way.
I think they're probably missing it.
A lot of them are. There you go.
But we got some news we're going to go through. Like I said, the iPad is 10 years old this week, which I can't believe.
Doesn't look a day after 5.
No, it doesn't. And then lots of other good topics and tips, and we'll get you. I'll have some fun here talking and chatting iOS and all this other fun stuff. So, but let's first kick in some of the news stories that caught my eye. The rumor sites are always interesting, I guess, to say the least. They're talking about an iPhone 9, I guess. So it's going to be an SE replacement. It's supposed to be the inexpensive version of the iPhone. And then, of course, there's the iPhone 12 that's rumored to have all kinds of different features. And this article is saying that they're going to change the fun color from my midnight green, which I'm sad, to navy blue. I don't know what you think about that.
I have the same green phone as yours because I like it.
I do too.
I have a case on there, so you can't really.
I have my clear case.
So I got the clear case too. I have the clear case, but I just don't like the feel of it. I got the Apple one. I got excited because I thought maybe the Apple clear case would be better than some of the others, but it's still
overpriced.
All of them are slippery and they scratch, and I can't find one that doesn't do that. So,
this one I got at CES from Spec. The clear case actually has been pretty good, so it still shows my midnight green color. So
I like blue.
No, I'm sure it's gonna. I know it's gonna be popular. This looks like it's like a midnight blue or navy blue, so it's gonna be darker color, which is fine. And they gotta have some new fun stuff on here.
You remember the whole story though with the green? There was a whole article how it took them a while to figure out how to get the green dye for that or something like that.
No, I don't really.
Yeah, I'll try to link it back and put in notes. But it was not like it's not like Tim Cook said, "Hey, let's make a midnight green or blue phone," and it's just happened. It was like the Foxconn said, "Whoa, hold on, you want a different color? Yeah. We can't do that." So it supposedly was a thing.
So yep. New color. We'll we'll be talking about the new iPhones as they come out. Rumor has it there could be something in March. I mean, one of the inexpensive models, but of course, you and I both love our 11 Pro Max, and in fact, I just took a video with it, and I'm happy. It turned out really well for work. So
yeah, it might be
good stuff.
It might be the look like an iPhone 8 with the guts of the iPhone 11. Is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's what they've done in the past. The 5 it was the style of the 5, but it had the 6S guts.
Right.
Last time was the SE. So, next story over on the Mac Observer, our pals at the Mac Observer, how Jeff Bezos' iPhone 10 was hacked. Apparently, allegedly, it was hacked by the Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salam. It was an iPhone 10, and hidden in a file received by Bezos was malware, granting some access to from his phone. So interesting. It was sent through WhatsApp, which surprisingly he's using.
Yeah.
And they said both an Israeli firm and an NSO group, Italian firm, a hacking team was been able to undertake this attack. Like one experience like this. What did you think about this?
I'm trying to follow along with it, and I listened
Yeah.
to the Tech Meme podcast, The Ride Home, and they got some updated info. They actually got a report, or
Oh,
somebody who actually saw the report about it, and from what they're saying, it's even more complicated, or crazy complicated. But
oh, as well it should be.
yeah, the can't remember if it's Gray Key or the other Israeli company that make the hacking boxes are looking into it too, but supposedly they cannot find any malware. They fished through this phone and they found
Right.
like nothing malware on
Hmm.
it. His phone was sending out a lot more data than it should after this happened.
Uh,
There's no indication that any of his data leaked. They can't find malware, but they do see the video, which is like a Iranian flag and another flag and a little video
yeah.
message. And they went to look into it more, but like they accidentally factory reset the phone. So there you go. He also does.
Oh, so
Yeah, he also doesn't have
that's good.
iCloud backups too. He has an iTunes backup, which was encrypted. And
Boy, they got some information that I missed.
yeah, they got some. So this was all today, and they got some. The iTunes backup is encrypted, and they tried to decrypt it, but Jeff Bezos couldn't remember his iTunes encryption password. So that
Of course.
that's
That's usually how it works, right?
so. Long story short is I'm like 50-50 on whether this actually happened or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's like me seeing his big ship out in Sicily in the bay. They said everybody's saying that's Jeff Bezos's boat, and this thing was like the size of a large factory,
Yeah.
enormous boat. And I was skeptical whether or not that was his boat or not. So, yeah, I know it's kind of a weird analogy, but it's Jeff Bezos. So
Yeah, is this like the first high profile iPhone virus malware that it's
yeah,
ever come about and nobody else is reporting it? I said before it's on the podcast we did yesterday, the live cast, that
yeah. Back to the Future Go. If you don't know
Back
what
to the
that is.
Future go. My feeling is if there was going to be a target of somebody who's going to get hacked, he would be one, for sure. But I still have a hard time believing that if he had an unmodified
Yeah,
iPhone, that it actually happened.
yeah. So we love security. Always fun things happening with hackers. They just keep everybody busy. That's why keeps a lot of people employed, especially in the information security sector. So,
Yeah.
but let's move on. And the next article, actually, before I would mention this article, a day ago, EA Electronic Arts confirmed it's retiring its own lineup of Tetris titles. And come on, Tetris has been around forever. I'm sure you played it all the time, right?
I not on my phone, but I played it on my first generation Game Boy all the time.
On their Game Boy. So you haven't played it for a long time.
It's been a while.
No, I played it on the phone, and so they announced that they were all the millions of fans that were still already playing the game. It's being retired in April, but a day later, an article we got here from Cult of Mac, a brand new Tetris game is already out on iOS, like a day after that they announced it. So. So Tetris will live on. It's actually apparently this was some licensing issues
Right.
as far
That's
as
right.
that goes. So that's yeah. So then that the company Network, and that's what Network with a 3 as their E, would be the exclusive developer of the Tetris games going forward. So you Tetris fans out there, you still have it.
They still ruin it. All these game makers
Yeah.
now are ruining these classic games because everything is like World Tour at the end. So it's like Tetris World Tour, or Pac-Man World Tour. It's like I just want to play it. I don't need to tour anything.
Yeah, no, I just want to play the game. I just don't want to
just
be involved with any.
yeah.
It's like when I play Solitaire, the Microsoft Solitaire, which is by the way that's probably one of the best Solitaire games out there if you like playing Solitaire.
Sure.
But they want you to sign into your Microsoft account, and you're going to get all these points. And I mean, if you pay for this, you're going to have all these other bonus features. And no, I just want to play Solitaire. Leave me alone.
Yeah, the Solitaire World Tour. Everything's a World Tour. So that just means there's levels to continue going through until you don't feel like playing anymore.
Yep. So, and then next article, this was in The Verge. Apple Watch gym partners have now giving you perks for working out. You can now, it's starting with 4 gyms, and they're launching. Apple has launched a partnership with these gyms that they calling the Apple Watch Connected. It's meant to highlight some changes that are integrating the wearables offer for perks for owners. In some cases, including discounted membership fees and gift cards for people who regularly work out. Of course, I'm not a workout very often, but basically, you know what you have to have. You have to have 4 things. You have to have an iPhone, an Apple Watch, support for Apple Pay so when you buy things at the gym, and then of course the kind of perk like be for the membership discounts. The fitness, and of course the fitness equipment has to support what's called Gym Kit. I guess now we have Home Kit. Now we have Gym Kit. Apple system for syncing the Apple Watch with the equipment like treadmills and ellipticals. So I don't know if you read through this article. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I read through it too. The last thing for to have the equipment compatible with Gym Kit, there was a whole blurb about it. Like, well,
Yeah.
maybe only some of the equipment has to be compatible. Well, it doesn't have to be all of it
Right.
because gyms are going to be like, yeah, it sounds nice to be this Apple Watch certified thing, but I ain't
Yeah.
switching out all my equipment just to do that. So I think that's probably what I did that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So it's going to be interesting. That's for sure.
yep.
So check it out. Do you want to find out more about that? So link in the show notes, of course. And then last article is actually, this is going to go right into our discussion. iPad is 10 years old today, this year. Can you believe it? I remember when I bought the iPad 1, and I'm sure you did too.
I did.
Great article from Jason Snell at Macworld. So we're linking back to that, but we just kind of want to sit back and reminisce. I remember watching Steve Jobs' keynote very vividly, and it's on YouTube. You can watch it anytime you'd like. And when he introduced the iPad, and that was the big iPad one. You said you did have one?
Yeah, no, I had it and I kept it for a while after that.
Yeah.
Because it was at the time it had the bigger hard drive or at least a bigger storage capacity.
Yeah, what was it? Was it 8 gig or was it 16 gig?
It was more than what you were getting with the new ones, and that was a thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I loved it. I remember seeing the thing, yeah, the keynote. My funny stories is with my wife because I tried.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the iPad second one. I bought her as a gift, and she made me return it. She's like, "What am I going to do with this? It's just a big phone." And I'm like,
Yeah, and that's what they quoted in the article. Yeah.
I said, "You'll trust me. You'll see. You'll see." And a year later, she can't live without it. She has 2 of them.
She can't live without that iPad.
She has 2 of them. So, yeah. I mean, it's the first one was it was big. It was ugly, but
it was.
yeah,
but for its time, it was revolutionary.
Yeah,
it was
for
just
sure.
an incredible device. And then yeah, and the funny thing was they announced it in January, which we're in now, and it didn't come out until April of that year. So there was a lot. I remember that delay because everybody was itching to get that thing.
Yeah, I can remember too. I think I was living in London when it came out. I bought it there, if I remember right.
Okay.
So how many iPads have you had since? If you had to think about
so yeah, let's kind of go through that. So I had the iPad 1, I had the iPad 2, I had the iPad 3.
Mm.
Then I think I skipped after the 3, and then went right to the Air, and then I went to the Air 2, and then I went to what was after the Air 2, the 9.7 inch, and then I went to the 10.5 inch, and then of course now I'm at the 11, like you and I are at. So I did skip a few models, but I think I stayed pretty steady versus the iPhone, where I didn't own the very first iPhone. I started with the 3G.
I think that's what I did too. Yeah.
3G, 3GS. So I was pretty involved. I was pretty locked in with iPad. I love the iPad. I think it's the best thing in the world, the device. And
yeah, for sure.
And you probably had every single model.
I remember I probably had a lot of those. I definitely had most of those. I had the Mini 1, 2, 3, and 4, and out of 5. I really like the minis as well.
Yeah, I never had a mini.
No, I have the Pro, the 11-inch Pro, and I still have the Mini 5 now. And a lot of times, if I'm just going to a gym or even for airplanes, the Mini is awesome for
It's
airplanes
nice.
because
Oh yeah, because it does take up space.
you could fold the back cover. I've done this so many times. You can
Right.
fold the back cover and it kind of gets you stick it in the seat in front of you, and it's like it looks like the movie screen
Right.
of the airplane, and makes it
That's
better.
a lot of seats aren't having that because when I just flew from Vegas, the plane the seats in the United flight, the thing where the books go in was too narrow.
Yeah,
So I had to put it on the table and hold it. So I was really bummed.
yeah. Well, the Mini I think might have worked on that. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
it would have.
so
Totally would have.
so that comes in handy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the Pro. I mean, the Pro is just in a whole different league. It's beautiful. It's the 11 is just the whole screen, the graphics, the display, everything is great about it. So, you know, I say this every year that they release a new iPad. I'm like, I don't know what they could do different that's going to be better. And, you know, every year they do something better.
And you know, the biggest thing was the App Store. They didn't have a lot of the apps that were ready for prime time when the iPad 1 came out. So it took quite a while before they finally had some apps. And then all topped it off is when they released iWork for iOS, and that was available for the iPad, and that was great. I mean, you finally had some apps that you could do, you know, word processing and spreadsheets and all that stuff. And then everybody just kept going for suit, and Microsoft finally came out with Office, and the rest is history. I mean, it just really continued on, and it continues to be an amazing device. But I agree in Jason's article that it is a bit of a work in progress still. I mean, they're still kind of trying to figure out where the iPad's going to go. I mean, they're trying to make this as a device that could be your full-time computer. I've talked about that many times, and I think it can be for many people. But I don't see it still isn't really quite there yet, the way iOS works. But the nice thing is now with the mouse support and some other things that are starting, I think it could get there. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's definitely the ultimate media consumption device, and
Yeah, it is.
you know, even with games, I don't like playing games on the iPad compared to my iPhone.
Yeah,
And especially you get really used to playing games on the iPhone, and then you go on the iPad, and it's actually not. It's disorienting to try to do it. It's too big to try to play a lot of the games that they have. As far as using it, you know, right now a big use I have for it now is a
yeah,
sidecar
that's right.
and the thing that you made me buy. What was it? The Luna display.
Me, I made you buy it.
Yeah, I heard your review with somebody and you said it was good. I'm like, I'm gonna buy it, so I bought it. So that's a really good use for the iPad as well. Um, and as far as using it for, you know, I don't think I could get too far using it instead of a laptop. I think I would hit a roadblock here
Yeah.
and there.
Well, we're both big Mac guys. We like our Macs, and I agree. It'll be a bit of a challenge to do it, but it's almost there. I mean, I think in the next few years, I think as they evolve iOS, you don't know. I mean, it definitely could. It definitely could make it. I mean, there are people who don't really require a lot of computing needs. I mean, it's like comparing a Chromebook versus a PC, you know, on the other end of the spectrum. You know, the Chromebook is like a very basic machine that does what you need. That's all on the web. I mean, the iPad, you know, it has its place as well for what it needs to do. So
For me, it's a lot to do with just the feel of it. You know, you take a MacBook,
yeah,
you take the lid up, and you know, you could put it almost anywhere. You could put it on your lap. You could put it, you know, if you're traveling, it's easy to deal with. Whereas an iPad, you know, it's not always easy to type on. Depending, you have to get you know, you would have to get a really good keyboard system for it to feel like a MacBook, which would be like the Bridge. I think the keyboard probably is the best bet, because even the ones that Apple sells, they're nice, the fold-out keyboards, but it's not the
yeah,
kind of thing where you could just prop up on your knee or something like that. And
yeah.
it's not
That's
quite
true.
like that.
But no, I love the iPad. I'll continue to love the iPad, and I'll still always have one. So it's be a rare thing.
What do you think? What do you think next year is going to do to it?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, obviously, processing power is going to increase in it as well. I don't know what else they could do with it. The pencil support's already there, and unless they change something with pencil? I mean, I haven't. Have you read any rumors or what they're talking about? What could be add to it?
The headlines of the rumors basically it says the new iPad might be as powerful as your 15-inch Pro MacBook Pro is what they're
Yeah,
saying. So
wouldn't be surprised.
yeah, so yeah, they can make it faster, but they've already taken away Touch ID and made it Face ID. They've already put USB-C in there.
Yeah,
Could you make it a little bit thinner? I will say one thing though: the display is great, but it's not.
yeah,
Um, there's better displays for tablets out there. If you look at some of the Samsung's tabs, like the S4 and S5, while they're not great tablets, they have the full OLED display,
yeah,
and it you could tell the difference. And it's not to say that either one is worse than the other, but it's
yeah,
definitely a different experience looking at a full OLED tablet. So
yeah.
that's something they could do.
It'll get there. Because that could be something they'll do is improve the screen. But like you said, it's a consumption device, and I enjoy watching movies on it. I'll be watching Star Trek Picard, which just came out today as we record this.
Yeah.
It was just released, and I'm watching Netflix and Apple TV Plus and Hulu, and so you have all these consumption these services you can consume media, and the iPad gives you that enjoyment.
And even
sure.
with the mini, that I have the reading is great on there. The Apple News is terrific on an iPad Mini because it's the good size for it, and
right.
And that's what I found too is consumption is different on different size tablets. You don't want to watch if you had a choice to watch a movie on an 11-inch tablet or mini, you're going to pick the bigger one. If you had a choice to read articles, you'll probably do it on a mini because you can hold it with one hand and put it up to your face. So maybe that's what they'll do: make an iPad that you could kind of stretch, so you could not full, but just stretch it out, so it's a bigger iPad.
Absolutely. So check out the article from Jason on Jason's Null on the Mac World site. We got a link to, and iPad rocks. So let's go into some of the topics. I made this a topic this time. Usually I make this a news story, but of course the latest version of beta 13.3.1 just came out. This is beta 3, which I know you've got on every device that you own. So I took a look at seeing some of the stuff that it's included, including the options of being able to toggle. It turns off the U1 ultra wide chip, which is in the latest iPhones for networking and wireless. And that's a setting that's in the privacy location services section. I guess being able to turn off that wideband chip, was it more for security, or what was that?
It was because
why that was added?
Because people were freaking out that when that thing got activated, somebody turned off all location services and noticed that the location arrow came on for some reason, and that's right. What it was. That actually came out in the beta before this one too. So this is the second beta that had it. I haven't seen anything else of interest between this beta and the last one. Seems fine. Again, just
iPad, iPhone all look the same.
Yeah, they're all the same to me. I didn't do the Apple TV, and Mac OS didn't come out yesterday, so that will be next.
WatchOS, you mean?
Oh, I did WatchOS. That seems fine. As I said last time we talked about it, I haven't installed a beta and said to myself, "Oh, that was the worst thing I ever did," or this is going back to something else in a long time. There were times, but it's been a while at this point. So you really can't tell. If I had your phone on production iOS and my phone on the beta, you wouldn't tell a difference. So it's very minor changes.
And then Apple TV, it looks like there's very minor things that they've done, and then it usually is the case with beta that they don't have a lot of updates. I tend to avoid doing the Apple TV because sometimes it seems like when I do update it, then stuff doesn't work, and things don't play, and
Mine does it
So
on
it's
its
better.
own now. I think
I
when I
mean,
did the beta, I think it actually, well, even without the beta,
you could turn it on or off,
you
right?
could turn it on and off. So sometimes I'll just turn it on, and it's like it's been updated already. So I haven't done that. I haven't actually. I might have to when the beta went from 10.30 to 1,
Yeah.
you had to reinstall a beta profile. So it's quite possible that my Apple TV is still on the old one, the old beta. So I'll have to check that. But it always seems to work. So far, so good. Knock wood.
Yeah. So another article caught my eye that was I thought a good topic to talk about is security concerns with iPhone 11 and location privacy. Krebs on Security, which is a very renowned security site, had an article just a day or two ago talking about the location privacy we were just talking about, and for all these versions with the Y-bands feature, um, and Apple later acknowledged the mysterious location requests that were happening. So when it got highlighted in that too, that just kind of tells me that the only thing Apple, bravo to Apple, was reacting to this and trying to get that in there. But they need to get this out sooner than later because it's obviously not in the latest version now. That's still currently production.
When did the last release come out?
Well, 13.3. We're on 13.3 now, right? It had to have been at least a month or two ago.
Yeah,
I have to look. I would have to look it up for sure what there was.
so
Go look at my grid.
it's probably
grid.
it's probably time for the.
Yeah, I mean this they're at beta 3. I would not be at all surprised that this 13.3.1 drops in the next
especially
week or two.
especially if it's security related there.
Yeah, but like I said, you got Krebs on Security talking about it. This is a pretty big thing. So
there you go.
So, all right, I got articles on that as well in the show notes. So let's talk a little bit about the chargers we've been talking about.
The power hour. The power hour.
The power hour. Yes. So we were talking about yesterday on Mac to the Future Go, but couldn't do it justice because these are both important devices, and in the sense that they work really well with iOS devices, iPhone, iPad. So why don't you go ahead and start? And you have a device. It's called Zero Lemon, right?
It is. It's Zero Lemon. I've heard their name before. So I'm usually on. There's a couple of deal websites out there, like
I can't find that.
Slick Deals.
It's $100 right now.
What is it? Oh, you can't.
Right now, if you go to that link, it's $100.
Oh yeah, that's why. So if you go to one's called Deal News and the other one's Slick Deals.
Oh, right.
I check those out every so often. When I say every so often, I mean probably twice an hour, if not more. So,
because you buy too much stuff.
buy too much stuff. But this one caught my eye. It was this Zero Lemon charging. The thing's a little bit thicker and slightly heavier than the iPhone Pro Max. It's not a battery pack, but it plugs into the wall. It comes with the AC port, and it has basically 2 USB ports in the front for charging only. This is not a hub. It doesn't do data, but it will charge 87 watt and 29 watt. So in theory, it could charge a 15-inch MacBook Pro and a 13-inch Pro or Air. It's got 2 USB ports that output, I think, the normal 15. It's fast charging on the 15 on the USB ports.
Yeah, 135 watt charging.
Yeah, and then it's got that alone probably wouldn't have done it for me because I have similar stuff to that already. The thing that bought it for me is at the top of it has a Qi charger, and it also has the watch charger built in. So
I see that. And probably the AirPods can do it too.
Definitely on the Qi. Yeah. So between with that, and I bought it because my wife and I and my son travel, and between the 3 of us, we have lots of devices. So you could get 2 or 3 phones on there, an iPad on there, and at least one watch on there, and then connect the additional devices to it. So I tried it. I hooked up my 16-inch Pro and my Air at the same time.
Nice.
it was doing okay until I opened up Parallels and opened up a VM on my 16-inch, and then my 16-inch started to deplete a little bit. I guess the processor was
Really?
reading it through. So, it may not be, it wasn't depleting as fast as it would be on battery, but I think after a while it's going to give in. And the 16 inches, it takes 90, was it 98 watts instead of the 87. So it does take a little bit more juice than the 15-inch with a slightly larger battery. But otherwise, it works. It hasn't blew up yet. It's got two fans in the back. That's how powerful this whole
Yeah.
thing is. So,
Yeah, links in the show notes shows information. Also says like a teardown what it looks like. So
yeah,
I've never heard of this company before. So
no, and
not
as
sure
I said,
where they're from.
if you wait, keep checking those sites, it might go on sale again. And again, it was 99, but it was $30 off for $60, so I took it.
I don't know where this company's based.
In 011, Zero Lemon, Ohio. I think. No, I have no idea. The shipping wasn't terrible. It took about a week. It's not Amazon fast, but it wasn't. I don't think it came from China, so that's a good thing.
Oh, they are selling it on Amazon. It says.
Are they?
Because it's one of their authorized resellers, and
let's check it out.
Their products are being sold on Amazon. So,
do you see their link? Let me see if I can find an Amazon link.
It says Zero Lemon Official on Amazon. Oh yeah, there's a link there.
Zero Lemon.
Interesting. Scan through here to see if they have it.
Yeah, they
got a lot. Looks like they sell a lot of cases for phones and
cases and charge, but they do have chargers out there.
Charging cases. Yeah. So
and
there's a charging case for a Nintendo Switch.
See if I can find 135. Tell you.
Yeah.
All right.
Interesting. See if it'll be. Found it.
I think I found it here. Here it is. No, that's not it. That's not it. They have one that looks like the Rav Power one, which is a little different. No.
Yeah. Well, I bet eventually it'll make it out there. So, my charger is made by a company called My Charge, which actually I talked about last week because I interviewed the representative from My Charge at CES when I was there, and they were kind enough to send me a unit to review and keep, and it's pretty slick. It's a really good charger. You have a couple options of models that you can buy. The one I have is a 10,500 watt or milliamp. It's milliamp battery capacity, so it gives you a ton of charge time. It does when you plug it in, it has the built-in plug that spins out, that folds out, which is nice. You don't have to have an extra adapter or cord with you to charge it. You just flip it down, put it in a plug, and it'll start charging. And it charges in about 3 hours. You can charge both an iPad and an iPhone with it at the same time. It charges 75% faster than the most normal devices do. So you could charge an iPhone 50% within 30 minutes, no matter which iPhone it is. It has a built-in USB-C cable as well as a Lightning cable, and it also has a pass-through USB-A port, so you could plug another device in to charge it. In fact, I tried it today. I had it plugged into the wall, and then I also had it plugged into my iPad, and it was still charging using the electricity. So maybe in a pinch, you may need to have it be able to plug in for charging your device, and the battery runs out, and you don't have your cord with you. So it's one thing you can just carry around with you, and you definitely have something that'll charge the devices for you. The cord's a little short. They actually mount right into the device, so they're sealed and tucked away. So it's nice. So there's two models. This one's a 10,050 milliamp. That one retails for $109.99. And I have a link to the show notes to their site. But it's also sold at Best Buy as well as at Amazon, so you can probably get a better price on those two sites. But no, that was a great battery, and there's also I think a 6,500 milliamp model in the series, the Turbo series, which was just new for this year. It's a little less money if you don't need as much power. And you had one of the older ones, right?
I have it's like a white one. It's from the same company, but it's not quite like that. I had the one that you have. I had a one that looked like it, but it wasn't the same company. It's the one that they sell at Apple stores, and
Yeah.
it's the one that had the cable. And mine actually broke. The Lightning cable wouldn't charge anymore, but the USB port
Hmm.
was whatever. Yeah, I saw what you have at Best Buy today, and I'm like, that day is going to get me again, man. He's going to get me and want me to. It was like 60 something for the lower watt one and 90 something for the higher watt one. I'm like, yeah, it's going to come in handy. I'm going to regret not buying this, but I held off now, so it looks good.
Right.
It looks good.
So check both those items out. Again, link in the show notes. And let's kick into some tips here. I threw a couple tips in here and found some interesting here. There was some hidden iPhone menu unlocks, some even more of the AirPods Pro settings. I don't know if you had a chance to take a look through this, Warren. Of course, you have the regular menu. You can get to it by settings, Bluetooth, and then your AirPods Pro, and then you, of course, get to the ear tip fit test and all that stuff. But actually, there are some other settings in here, as this article says, that you may not find. And I've taken a look at this, and you can get to this hidden menu by following these steps. You can open the settings app, and then on the iPhone that your AirPods are connected to, of course, go into accessibility, and then you find AirPods. Then in here, you'll find options for adjusting the speed and duration of the AirPods Pro gestures. So, example, default press and hold functionality. You can change how that works because some people have a little different way they touch it and push it. Have you tried this at all?
I haven't. I saw the link. The problem I have with my pros, and I don't know if you have the same ones, is
I do.
well, no, I know you have the pros. I don't know if you have the same problem, but
Oh,
if they feel like they're falling out of my ears sometimes,
yeah.
if you try to push it in back into your ear canal, I'm constantly hitting the adjusting buttons by accident. So
Yeah, you got it because you had to push it at the top of the AirPod.
yeah, and I try that too. And then
if
if you have an itch inside of your ear, you take it out, and that messes everything
it
up.
turns
Too.
off.
So I'd be kind of looking to maybe make the presses longer, not shorter, but I don't know about that. I'm getting better at it. I like a kind of instead of grabbing the poles, you really got to just push in the actual top part. So, or just live with the itch.
Yeah. You could live with that big itch. So the press and hold duration in accessibility, you can change it to whether the default is, which what we're used to now, or you can set it to shorter. That's the two choices there. And then if you wanted, you also could you can adjust how slowly you can press the side to skip tracks on a previous song. Of course, it's set at default, and you can go slow or slowest. So,
okay,
they're interesting settings here. And then, of course, not of course, but you also have another option to enable active noise cancellation in just one of the AirPods instead of two. I don't know why you'd want to do that. Maybe some accessibility. Maybe someone might have they might have some hearing issues in one ear.
That's actually not a bad. Actually, that's cool because a lot of times I'll sit at a table and the person who may want to talk to me is on my right hand side and on my left.
That's true.
So that comes in handy. And I use speaking of these switches, that's the one I use the most is the turning on noise cancellation and turning off noise cancellation. That's obviously
me too.
the one I use all the time, and I love it. I love being able to push it, and it's still always a surprise when the noise cancellation turns off, and you're like, there's life around me, and it's a good thing I didn't get hit by a rock. So,
good tip for those of you who have the AirPods Pro. I hope many of you do because they're absolutely awesome. I am so pleased with what Apple's done with those AirPods compared to the old version, which of course they're still selling, and they're selling for cheap too. I've seen the old AirPods are like $110.
I saw $129 maybe or $125. Yeah.
So
I have I have my old AirPod 2 in my backpack, and I one day it's gonna come in handy. I don't know when, but Kind of,
Oh, your old ones?
yeah, I wish I had 4 years because you could do you could do the sharing thing where you could actually get them all playing at
Yeah,
this.
that's why you got them with you. And then, maybe your wife doesn't have hers with her,
Yeah,
and you guys can listen
yeah.
to
And
something
the
at
one thing I noticed,
same source.
the one thing I noticed, I don't know if you've noticed either, but they hold their charge when not in use better than anything else I
Yeah.
used. A lot of electronics, if you don't have it plugged in and you don't use
Yep.
it, even if it's not on, will deplete. This one's it
Yep.
was 100%. 2 weeks ago, I took it out of the bag, still 100%. So,
Yep.
good stuff.
So, all right. Then another tip here we have. How do you change your default email account on the iPhone? And why would you want to do that? Well, many of us, and I'm sure you do as well as I do, have multiple email accounts, and you want to be able to. There might be a time that you're wanting to make that email account your default for a time because you might be using it more frequently. So the way you do that is you go into settings and then you swipe down and tap mail. Then once you get in mail, you swipe all the way down to the bottom, and then you'll see default account. Tap that, and then in there it will list all the email accounts that you already have in there. And then all you have to do is tap whichever email is your default. Let's say if it's Gmail or iCloud or others. So simple tip if you need to make a change in that. Thought that was a good tip to talk about. And then last one I have here before we get into our apps here, which we have some good stuff to talk about, is how you offload apps in iOS to save space without deleting their data. I'm sure you've seen this before, Ryan, right? You've done it?
Yeah, I've done it. Well, it's been a while since I kind of have a lot of space left on my phone, but I have done it in the past. Um, and the setting,
And you remember how to do it without?
yeah, yeah, it's settings in iPhone's settings, general iPhone storage, and then offload unused apps. And there's an enable if you want to do that, and that will basically
Right.
delete it out. And then if you want it back, you just get it right back. And I think it also does it automatically too if you're doing an update.
After a period of time.
Yeah, if you're doing an update or something, or if you need room, it will do the same thing. So,
right, and we have a link in the show notes on this, and it shows it'll have the little cloud with the arrow down icon showing that the app is offloaded, and it is off, and all you have to do is tap it, and then it'll download back down again if you go ahead and use it. Because I know many of us have a lot of apps that we don't use for periods of time, and they just sit there, and you forget about them, and then might as well offload it. Oh, for us, we've got 256 gigs of space on our iPhone, so I don't tend to worry too much about space.
no, but just make sure you're in a data area. Don't if you're going on a flight and you're not going to have data or Wi-Fi, it's not going to re-download it if you need the app. So just keep that in mind too. Because it does.
So
does really need to.
Last thing I wanted to talk about is you and I both follow Mac Stories, MacStories.net, and Federico Vittucci. And every year they have a must-have apps edition, and they just came out with their 2019 version of it. I don't know if you had a chance to look at this or not, but they do have quite a bit of lists of different apps that should be in their place as far as your device. So I was going to kind of go through this and see which apps you have, and if there may be something you use, and I'll definitely acknowledge if I use it. So first thing he goes through is he talks about on home screens, where your home screen is, and that's the podcasting app Overcast. There's a great app that Mark Arment is the one who started that one up, and that's a great way to be listening to podcasts. Do you use Overcast?
I have it. I used it for a little bit, but I went back to Apple Podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it works well for me, and generally don't have any problems with it. But I do have Overcast installed. I just haven't used it.
Yeah, no, I do too. And actually, I pay for the premium service, so you could have some storage and support him, support Marco, and The only thing I don't like about it is it's only audio podcasts. So if you want to be able to listen to video or watch video podcasts, you don't have that option in Overcast. So if I were to extend the two other apps I would recommend for video as well as audio, Pocket Casts is actually becoming one of my favorites lately. And I wrote an article a while back in iPhone Life magazine about podcast apps. If you want to go check that out, they really have come a long way with all these different apps. So, I mean, there was two. My recommendation was Downcast. Have you ever used that one?
I haven't, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, Downcast was good because I was able to very easy to catalog and actually navigate. But Pocket Cast is starting to grow on me a little more. The podcasts are listed nicely. You can change the different views. The nice thing too is if you have something in your feeds and it turns out that a podcast is inactive, you tap it and it actually tells you is it an inactive podcast or not, meaning it hasn't recorded an episode in quite some time. So, which is cool as well.
Yeah.
So that's that. Now, newsreaders, I've used Reader, Reeder, and they just came out with a polished new version of it. Have you used that one at all?
No, not. I don't.
No, you don't like using newsreaders at all?
I've been using Apple News as far as that goes,
okay.
And that seems pretty good for me.
So Reader is a nice modern way of being able to read through news articles. It uses a feed service called Feedbin that you just subscribe to the RSS feeds to particular news sources. That's what's nice about it. You can customize it. Apple News, I mean, it gives you the content that they give you, whereas these news readers you can actually customize them the way you'd like. So that's that one. Two others that I'll mention and recommend is News Explorer and Net Newswire. Net Newswire was an old time reader. I don't know if you used either one of these.
No.
And they just brought it back. It was resurrected for both iOS as well as Mac. So both those apps are on for both. Reader actually was on the Mac as well. So
I'm having some weird deja vu flashback. I must have used news readers on my computer like 10 years ago, and I think it's just coming back to me now. But
so
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so check those out. The weather apps, I've really liking Carrot. I'm assuming you like Carrot. Use Carrot. I hope you are.
No.
It's one of the best weather apps out there.
Should I?
It is awesome, and it's not free, but it's like I think it's like $5, but it's well worth it. They have fun with the weather. It brings up what's going on in your area, breaks it down by time when the precipitation is going to be happening. They have like little event things and tells you at the very top you can just tap and say if there's any weather alerts. They have different modes, time travel, achievements, all kinds of fun stuff you can do. And they've got an amazing radar. You just tap the radar at the top here, and it really is very vivid and brings up the exact time of when you're looking at it. I'm looking at the radar right now. It looks like we got some snow on the way here. So
that's way too much info for weather. I just I'm pretty basic. I use the weather app and maybe the weather channel. Okay. And once in a while, the funny one. Do you have the funny one? Hold on. You'll the WTF weather, the one that
no, I've never had that one.
You see people screenshot that stuff all the time too. Do I even? It's called I have it. WT forecast is what it is, and you can set it to either have a you could turn it on like R-rated mode or turn it off.
No, I've not seen that one.
Today's weather, according to this, is cold, like my ex-wife. I'm just kidding. She wasn't that bad. Actually, I was probably the a-hole, is what it says. It's kind of funny. Lord. So that's as intricate as I get with the weather there.
That's too funny. So as we just get into this stuff, I mean, you can see how in depth Federico gets with these apps. There's a lot.
Yeah, I'm looking. Some of them I have, obviously, Twitter,
Yeah, we talks about Twitter. I mean, Twitter's got a good app, and I've looked at the other Twitter apps like Twitterific and Tweetbot and some of the others, and the Twitter app has actually been actually getting a lot more improvement for those of you who use Twitter.
Right.
So it is pretty cool. So I don't think there's too much to say about that one.
Slack. I'm just looking through the ones I have. Slack. I tried Fantastical.
Yeah, I'm not for calendar. Fantastical is not great. It's okay. Interesting. If you go into entertainment, he mentions Shazam, which of course was bought by Apple.
Right.
Shazam. I remember Shazam being the first app I ever put on my iPhone because it was so cool that you could just turn it on and put it up and listen to the music, and it told you what song was playing. And Apple's pretty much have kept it. You know, they haven't really done too much, but they up to it. Other than it still does that, but they want to make it more, social media like. With that, so that's with that. Of course, all the other entertainment stuff you can get, like the YouTube app, is actually very good. I'm assuming you use the YouTube app.
Yeah, and he puts Plex in here, and I have a Plex server.
Plex server for all your media.
Yeah, that works pretty well. Yeah, it's a cool list. Does he do games? I don't see games in here.
I don't know. I don't see a list of games much of the games. Yeah. So, he's got home stuff, utilities. So he's got a lot of great little things that you can get with this, and he just gives it his whole list of must-have apps. And I have many of them as well. So, and there's plenty I've recommend over the past, and so it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks actually up to date. I've seen a few of these that kind of get dated pretty quickly, and then you're like, you start reading it, and it's like, yeah, we know about that already. But he has a bunch on here that I haven't heard of, so good stuff.
So, a couple other apps I'll mention was they have stuff servers like have you ever heard that service Calm? They do a lot of advertising. It's an app where it makes you sleep better and calm, and and you have to pay for it.
I did hear that.
So you have that, and a lot of the restaurants are getting a lot better with their apps. I've noticed they're very easy to scan and get your deals, and I just got my free 8-piece nuggets from Chick-fil-A, and
I saw that in my Slick Deals.
Yeah, and it's like deals, and puts it in the app, and you just bring up the QR code, and then they scan it. Because when you order, and then they say this will be $15, and I'm like, what? It's supposed to be free, or because you order other stuff, but then they scan it. Oh, that's fine, because you have to scan the coupon first. So
I'm playing one game that I'm playing all the time on my phone now is Dr. Mario World, and that is came out a couple months ago, and I kind of kept up with it, and it's kind of Tetris-y. Speaking of Tetris, it's very, very similar to it, where you just kind of stack pills, and they have to form shapes, and it's a good busy game that it doesn't have to invest too much time in, and I've made it 6-7 months, and I think I rarely do this. I paid. I gave it $6 within the last 6 months to get an extra level that I'm trying to get through or something like that. So, yeah, if you're looking for a game, that's a good one.
I'm gonna make sure you put that in the show notes.
Yeah.
Images that are listed on here include Annotable, and I didn't even know about this app. It's the best way to annotate photos and screenshots. I may be on this app. I don't even know about this one, but it does give you the options of annotations to photos, which is cool. And then Pixelmator is always a very good replacement for Photoshop, and of course you have Photoshop and Affinity Photo too. But Pixelmator is a very inexpensive way of doing photo editing on your iPad. So you got some great apps there as well. Is there anything else that caught your eye? We're going through this, and there's just so much, like I said, to to review here.
Uh, the Home Plus, that's a big one. It kind of does.
Yeah, I was kind of peeking through that. I didn't
It,
pay attention to that. So what
it
does that do?
yeah, I've read about it. I haven't used it, but basically it takes the Apple Home app and kind of expands on that and does more things that you can't do in the
Hmm.
normal Home app. There's another one here. What's this Home Run? It's a remote for the Apple Watch. So a couple of things with the Home app, with the not with the Home app, but with the smart home
Oh
stuff.
yeah, looks like
Yeah,
you put some icons on
on your
your
watch.
Apple Watch.
Yeah, you could control things that way, which is kind of neat. And
So
then the other one that kind of caught my eye was the where now I lost it again. It was something you put on your home screen that does like shortcuts to anywhere. I'll see if I can find it later, but I can't find it. Anyhow,
but if you go to there's a link to 2019. He has all the icons of every app that
oh yeah,
he mentions.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention 1Password. 1Password rocks. Having their password manager. I shared an article about it. I always like to razz some folks on Facebook. There was an article the other day about LastPass having that big security problem where if you had an account that was too old, you couldn't get in, and there are a lot of LastPass lovers out there, which is fine. But I'm glad there's competition because I've been a big 1Password user for a long time, and I've been supporting them, and I think they have a great password managing system. The 1Password, I have the 1Password for Teams, so you can share things out with your family and friends, and keep it not necessarily friends, but probably family, and that's a great thing too. You use password managers at all?
I did the trial for one of them. I think 1Password, and the point was to get my family on board, and I don't think I was going to be able to convince them to do it at the time. So I'll need to review.
So they rather have sticky notes.
Yeah, we have password issues here. We all use the same passwords, and it's not a good thing. So
Yeah, that's not good.
yeah,
You got a spreadsheet loaded with all your passwords, right?
I don't. I don't. Somebody in this house might, but it's not me. I use a lot with the Apple iCloud keychain. Obviously, it keeps all my passwords in there.
Keychain stinks.
Yeah, but a lot of times a lot of times it will suggest that crazy long password, and I'm tempted to do it, and then I chicken out. I just put in a password that I know I'll remember, because if if I'm not on an Apple device, I need to get into it, then I'll have a problem. But I'll knock the wood that I haven't been hacked yet. So
Yeah, no, I mean that's the thing. That's the one thing you got to be careful about with password management is don't get hacked. And that's what's great about 1Password is it's very secure. It's encrypted. Any password manager doesn't necessarily have to be 1Password.
well,
Is
I would say any known password manager.
well, any known like the two we mentioned, LastPass and 1Password are probably the top two.
I found one that says Joe's password manager, and then I
No,
don't know if we should do that one. It might
probably want to. Yeah, I don't think you want to do that.
probably not.
So, all right, you got anything else here? We're gonna probably just go ahead and wrap things up.
No,
unless you got something else that you're thinking about?
no. Gonna as I said, going away for the weekend, so I'll take some pictures on the phone and see how those come out. Get some.
Yeah, we'll look forward to seeing it. Of course, how does everybody find you? They find you on some place called Facebook. I think
I'm always there, always on Facebook, and in fact, I'm gonna try to cut down if I can, but just a little bit. But
that'll be interesting to see. You're always on.
Yeah, I know. You ever check your battery usage on your phone, and you're like, it tells you what you use the most?
Facebook's like 90% probably.
It's
on yours.
so bad. It's just so bad. But I am on Facebook. I run a group called Back to the Future that we talk about things. There's actually a big a post going right now that people are discussing whether Face ID is bad or good. This guy actually who posted doesn't think Face ID is good. And obviously there's opinions on that. So we talk about things like that. Basically, is we kind of discuss the technology and how to improve on it. I'm also doing the podcast with you. If you want to reach me for any reason, I may check Twitter at WSKLAR. And that's it. How about you?
All right. Yeah, and definitely check out Max of the Future. We have a link in the show notes and about our co-host, and you can join the group. And Warren will be happy to welcome you to the group. I've been in the group for a while, and it's a lot of fun. It can get a little crazy too sometimes. There's some crazy people in that group too.
There's crazy people everywhere.
There's crazy people everywhere, exactly. So let's go ahead and wrap things up here then. This is a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios, and you can subscribe in your favorite podcatcher, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, and iHeartRadio, and there's many others. Or better yet, just go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter @DaveG65. Again, thank you, Warren, for being here.
Thank you for being here as well.
And we'll talk to you next week, and you folks will be talking to you next time, and thanks for listening.